If I gave you the choice between taking $1 million today or a penny that doubles every day for, say, 30 days, which would you pick? Most people grab that $1 million. But if you took the penny, by day 30, you'd have over $5 million. That's the magic. That's compound returns. Money growing on money while you sleep, while you work, while you binge watch Netflix. In this video, I'm breaking down what compounding is, how time turns small amounts of money into life-changing wealth, the sneaky way taxes reduce compounding, and why choosing an accumulating ETF over a distributing ETF can make a massive difference in your total returns. Let's do this! So what is compounding? Compounding is returns earning more returns, or interest earning interest. Let's say you invest $1,000 at an annual interest rate of 10%. With simple interest, you'd earn $100 each year, and after 10 years, you'd have $2,000. $1,000 in principal plus $1,000 of interest. Now let's see what happens with compound interest. When using compound interest, your earnings become part of the principal after each compounding period. It could be annually, monthly, quarterly, sometimes even daily. So let's use the same example as before. You invest $1,000 at a 10% annual interest rate. After the first year, you'd earn $100 in interest, just as with the simple interest. But the difference is now your new principal is $1,100. In the second year, you'd earn 10% interest on the new principal of $1,100. This means you would make $110 in gains, and your new principal would be $1,210. This process continues, and by the end of 10 years, your investment will have grown to $2,593. As you can see, this is significantly more than you would have earned using simple interest. That small shift is what fuels exponential growth. So when people say your money works harder than you do, this is exactly what they mean. This isn't just theory. It's the foundation of modern portfolio theory and retirement planning. Look, here's what happens to $10,000 invested at an 8% annual growth rate, which is the market's average return more or less. At year 10, the total is about $22,000, a gain of $12,000. At 20 years, about $47,000, a gain of $25,000. At 30 years, about $101,000, a gain of $54,000. At 40 years, $217,000, a gain of $116,000. See the difference? The longer the time horizon, the bigger the effect. This is why starting early, even with tiny amounts, weekly or monthly, beats starting later with larger amounts of money. Remember, compounding is non-linear. Most of your growth happens in later years, not the early ones. That's why consistency and patience always pays off. The first 10 years doubled your money. But the last 10 years, year 30 to 40, was 10 times the return of those first 10 years. That's why the best investors aren't the smartest, aren't the luckiest. Oh, I'm just broke something here. But they're the most patient. And let time do the heavy lifting. Now let's talk about an enemy of compounding: taxes. Every time you receive a distribution, like dividends or capital gains from an ETF, that money will be taxed in a taxable account. If you reinvest after paying taxes, you're compounding on a smaller base. For example, say you earn a $1,000 distribution and it's taxed at 25%. You can only reinvest $750. Over decades, that difference compounds into a huge wealth gap. Compare that to a tax-sheltered account like a TFSA in Canada or a Roth IRA in the US. Here, in these accounts, your returns grow tax-free, and compounding works just as you calculated it in a compound growth calculator online. Over 30 or more years, that can mean tens of thousands of dollars, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even millions of dollars more in your pocket. Richenstein and Jennings' paper showed that taxes significantly reduce effective returns over time, sometimes cutting after-tax wealth by more than 40% compared to tax-deferred accounts. So what can us measly little investors do to beat down that tax man? Here's something most beginners don't know. Not all ETFs handle distributions the same way, though they are generally tax efficient. Distributing ETFs pay distributions into your account. You then have to reinvest that money manually or drip it. And if it's in a taxable account, you will owe taxes every year on those distributions. This is why covered call ETFs are terrible in the accumulating phase of investing. That's where accumulating ETFs are amazing. They automatically reinvest those dividends or distributions back into the fund. No extra effort. And if it's in a tax-sheltered account, your snowball grows untouched. And even if it's not an accumulating ETF, just an ETF that pays out the smallest possible distribution, it will have the least tax drag on your account. Look at VU as an example. Let's put some numbers on it so it feels a little more real. Going back to that example of $10,000 invested at 8% for 30 years, that ETF went from $10,000 to $100,627. Compare it to a 25% tax on distributions of 8% every year. Distributing ETFs like JEPI with high yield, that same $10,000 invested at 8% return for 30 years with a 25% tax on distributions grows to $57,435. That's a gap of about $43,000, almost half your final wealth gone to tax drag. Don't do it unless you have no choice. High distributions in a taxable account means your portfolio has a massive parachute attached to it, slowing down its growth. If you found this video somewhat useful, hit that like and subscribe button for more no-nonsense content just like this. What can we take away from this video? Start early. Even $50 a month matters over the years. Stay consistent. Time beats timing when investing in the broad market with index ETFs. Use tax shelters accounts first to avoid a tax drag. Choose accumulating ETFs if available in your country or those that distribute the least amount of money. And reinvest everything, letting compounding do its job. To sum it up, compounding isn't about getting rich quick. We know that. It's about building wealth for sure. Slowly, steadily, and tax efficiently. Please share this video with someone that thinks a penny doubling for 30 days is chump change. Until next time, I'm Mr. Financial.